We're going to do a very simple straight kameez. It's on a net, and it's going to be piped up and finished off in an orange. And we're going to be making pencil pants or the capri pants, whichever name you want to give them. Now here all I'm doing is I've already cut the kameez out. It's a very basic simple kameez, and I'm going to cut out lining to go with this. It's a thin net which needs full lining. So I'll just place the lining underneath and just cut. The trim that we're going to use is going to be Banarsi trim, and it's going to be sort of trimmed all the way around. Now this type of lining I'm not really overly keen on it because it's got a stiffness and it hasn't got a drop. Generally I would recommend a type of fabric which has a nice fall. Now it's for a youngish girl and she's quite slim, so I suppose in a way she would be able to carry it off, where if you were bigger hipped or slightly bigger size, then you would have a problem carrying this type of fabric off. Now I'm not going to delay this too long with unnecessary. We're just going to go on to cutting the crop pants. So it's a very bright fluorescent orange. To be honest, I'm not overly keen on this color, but so it is the customer's wish, and we shall oblige. Now this is a 45 inch wide fabric, and what we're going to do is we're not going to get the length out from 2.5 yards, and the reason for that is with these pants the turning is quite a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut them 2 at a time. And it's always important to do your fabric comparison to make sure that you've got sufficient fabric prior to getting. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use tape measure, and we're going to keep this 44 inches in length. So we're going to just mark this off at 44 inches, and we're also going to mark it off at about 12 inches from top and bottom. And we're going to work within this 12 inch marking. Now this is the bottom side, which is where the bunch is going to be. So this 12, I want to half it into the 6, and from 6 outwards I'm going to measure 4 inches on either side. So leave 2 inches on either side, and you've got a measuring of 4 inches, and that's the bottom. And then we're going to have like a 4 inch up from here. And again, if you're going the 12 inches, you've got the 6 here, and then this time around we're going to do 3 inches, well, about 3¼ inches from either side, so 3¼ and then just meet that point and that point, and that sort of like gives us the curve. So really our poncha opening is going to be left at 3 inches. The quarter that we've left is for the turnings. Now going to the crotch side, we're going to measure from the 12 inches that we measured across, we're going to measure it 12 inches down and 1 inch across, and we're just going to curve that for the crotch cutting. And then this one we're just going to meet it up with the crotch line, so that's just a straight seam. Now same line, 12 inches across, we're just going to put a mark there, and again we're going to, this is the hip point, and we're just going to meet that up there and slightly curve it in to give it the shape on the top. And that basically is going to just give us our first poncha. Now generally it is the first one that we measured out, and we use the first cutting as our template. So that, if we turn it back up, we've got the area where we're going to do the turning and apply the buttons on. I'm going to use this, just turn this around. And that extra little bit that we left, we're going to be using that for the poncha, just in case. Now this might be enough, I'm not quite sure, but sometimes you just end up running, it looks like it's going to be enough. This is more than enough. So since this fabric is enough, we're going to go towards that side and cut along. So by placing the existing pattern on top of this, we're just going to use that, we're just going to extend it slightly. And where we're going to extend it from is, this is the crotch area, and we want to extend this from that crotch. The front one is only 1.5 inches in depth. The back one we want about 4 inches in depth. So you're taking this about 2.5 inches further up from that point. But then from going down to the leg area, foot area, we're going to do them exactly the same. In the outer seam, we're just going to keep it the same. The other difference is we've left it slightly extended at the top to give it more of a crotch space, so that the hanging is better. Now we're going to slightly angle this down. I'm going to put this slightly bit deeper. Now the thing I would say is don't be afraid to cut deep into the back crotch, because it is that depth of the cut that's going to give you the better shape. So if you're looking at the trouser, that basically is what the trouser is going to look like. So that is the crotch area, that's the front, and then that's the back, and the back is a lot deeper than the front. And this 1/4 of an inch that I'm taking off is just to give it a little bit more shape. So the way we normally stitch these is by placing both of these leg pieces wide open facing each other, and by placing these two on top and then stitching down the outer side seam legs before. Now before I actually go on to stitch this, what I'm going to do is I don't know whether to close it or to, no, I'll close it and I'll just apply the buttons on. And the buttons that I've chosen are we've got a choice of either applying some white buttons on or orange buttons on. I think I'll go for the white. I think they will stand out more with the orange on the gummies.